I'm live now again. So we're gonna try this again. We had some trouble with our guest joining. Perfect. So he is there, which is great. Yep.
Yes, there.
So now I think we're going to be able to work it out. So welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. We are starting this live for the second time, but that's totally fine. I think we're working and I think the connection is about to work. It is.
Do we have success?
We have success. So Ty, you can turn, I'm going to mute you on Zoom. So
All right.
Can you hear me here?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Fantastic. I'm so happy. It is so great to see you. And you know what?
It's good to see you too.
This is the process of discovery. To try to discover how to solve a problem.
We just discovered multiple ways that it doesn't work.
We really did. I want to thank you for jumping on and
Sure.
I'm so happy to see everyone jump back on. We had a whole bunch of people from all over the world, and I told them we're cutting it off and we're coming back, and now everybody's back again. So
yeah.
Yay to everyone. It's nice to see you. I want to welcome every single guest on ThriveCast. This is ThriveCast, the official well-being show for Andrews University. My name is Dr. Dominique Gummelt, and I am super, super excited, thrilled to have Ty Gibson with us on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I'm going to jump right in since we already are a little behind schedule now.
Sure.
So Ty, really quickly, for our viewers here, like I said, don't know from how many countries you're. I'm assuming many countries. Ty, who are you? Introduce yourself quickly to our audience.
I'm Ty. I'm Ty Gibson. Yeah. I'm Ty Gibson, Planet Earth, Milky Way Galaxy.
Nice.
Specifically relocated recently to the state of Tennessee from Oregon.
Tennessee.
That's right. I don't know what possessed me to do that, but here I am in Tennessee, and I'm involved in a lot of communications efforts with video and writing, and that's what I do. I write, I teach. Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it.
And you speak and you travel quite a bit, or you have anyways?
I have, yeah. COVID has grounded me to some degree, but yeah, it's great to see the world and to meet new people and to make discoveries of places and people. Yes.
Very cool. I love it. And you know what's really interesting, what you just said? You said you just relocated to Tennessee and you're not really sure what prompted you to do that. It's so funny because Ty, I had the exact same thought when I moved to Tennessee years ago. I lived in Tennessee, and I remember, I have to just tell you this really quickly. I was born and raised in Germany, which, by the way, I'm in Germany right now, just for our viewers. I'm tuned in from Hanover, Germany, and I moved to the United States when I was 16. And I thought at the time, no joke, I thought that all of America was going to be like Southern California.
Oh.
And it turns out
not even close.
It's not true.
No, no.
And I remember when we drove to Tennessee, and we drove in there, and I thought, okay, that is not like Southern California at all.
Nope.
At all. And
it has its own kind of beauty here, but yeah,
it does. It does. And I got to tell you, it didn't take long before I would come home and I would say, ha, and I would say, ba. I just picked up the Tennessee way of talking.
Yeah.
It was so great. But I'm very happy for you. I hope your move has gone well. And
it has gone well. And I'm already saying y'all.
See, it goes fast. And by the way, here comes the question of the day to everyone.
All right.
In Tennessee, what is the plural of y'all?
Y'alls? I don't know. I haven't encountered this. I don't know. What is it?
Actually, it's all y'all.
All y'alls. I've heard that. All y'alls. Yeah, I have heard that. Yes.
Because it's funny, in Tennessee, people can talk to just one person and still say y'all. So, like, they have one person say, how y'all doing? And it could be one person.
Yeah.
If you want to address the whole group, it's all y'all.
That's right. It's like in the Northeast, use guys.
Use guys. Exactly. Okay, Ty, I'm going to
Yeah.
start out with some questions for you so people can get to know you just a little better. This is a
Yeah.
little round. I call it the quick question round. So you have
Okay.
less than a minute to answer basically for every
All right.
question. And so everyone who's on this show that is a student of Andrews University, please stay tight through the whole show. And at the end, you will get the direction for the link to obtain co-curricular credit. So that's important for you if you're a student. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. First question, Ty.
All right.
What is your favorite city in the world and why?
Oh, this is going to be boring because my favorite city in the world is Los Angeles, California. And the reason why, yeah, I know nobody likes it. Everybody hates that place. I don't hate it. I love it. I love it because it's the city of my birth. Okay. That's where I was born and raised. So there's deep roots there. And I also love it because there is a strange intersection between creativity and sadness. And that's me. That's me. So LA is like the fingerprint of my personality.
Okay. Okay. You know what?
I love
Somebody says, go Dodgers, LOL. But, you know, it's super funny because I did not know that about you. And I had to smile a little because, you know, you and I have known each other for a few years and we have several things in common as we find out. And when you just said that, I chuckled because LA is one of my favorite cities in the world too.
Is it? Oh.
Yes, because I was not born there. But LA was the first city I ever visited in the United States when I was 8 years old. Wow. And I went there for Christmas vacation because we had distant relatives there. And one of the first things I ever said to our distant relative, she told me this later because I was 8 years old. I didn't really remember this, but she said to me, when I first came there to the house, I said, her name was Ellie. It was Aunt Ellie. I said, Aunt Ellie, one day I'm going to live in LA. This is my favorite city. And so I actually developed a really close connection because I spent almost every summer and every holiday in LA. And so it was in Santa Monica. We lived close to Venice. And that was my childhood second home.
Wow. Well, I love LA so much that I was actually disappointed when Taylor Swift wrote the song Welcome to New York and it wasn't Welcome to LA. I was disappointed.
I got you. Well, this is cool. Thank you for sharing. Okay, second question for you is, what person has made a great impact in your life and why?
Oh, there's a number of people who have made a great impact on my life, but the person who's made the single most profound impact on my life is my wife, Sue. I know that sounds cliche, but here's the thing. She and I have been together since she was 13 and I was 14. And she's just all up in my head all the time and in my emotions and in everything that I do. She's the reference point for me. She is my muse. She is the person that most beautifully exemplifies what humanity could be and is potentially moving towards. So yeah, I just dig the girl. She's amazing. So
I love this. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not cliche at all. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
All right.
Okay. All right. Third question. One thing on your bucket list that you have not done, but you are going to do.
That I'm going to do for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That you know you're going to do.
Okay. I know for a certainty that I'm going to skydive. I haven't done it, but I'm gonna. I've bungee jumped, but I understand from people who've told me it's not the same. So yeah, I would love to just jump out of a plane and let gravity have its way with me.
And fly.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And it's funny. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. But when you just say that, obviously that subject is something I enjoy too. This concept of wings to fly, because that's one of the songs.
Right? Oh, that's right. Yes.
But anyways, so good. I'm so glad that you shared that with us. So now we know you a little better. And when you do skydive, you need to social media that so that we all know that you did it.
I will. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So really, Ty, as I already mentioned earlier to everyone here, because we're talking about something that is so essential to thriving as a human being. And we're living in crazy times. And I refuse on this show to talk about all the things that are not going well, because the topic of the show is what can we do, regardless of what's going on, to thrive? Why?
Yeah.
Because we've been made to thrive. And so
Yeah.
I believe that to the core. And so today, one element of thriving is dreaming and also discovering. And so that's what we're talking about. So my first question to you is, when you hear discovery, what does that even mean to you?
Well, for me, discovery is the process of fueling creativity. So you have to have new sensory stimuli in order to trigger new patterns of thought or new patterns of thinking. So discovery is on the level of necessity. If you want to be involved in any kind of making process, any kind of creating process, you have to have a constant stream of new sensory stimuli. And for me, the discovery of people and their stories and their personalities is number one. That's the primary discovery. And I have found over the years that if you approach any given interaction with a human being with a framework of discovery, like a person is a world of depth, a person has a history, a person has a background, a person has had some joys in life, some traumas in life. And rather than approaching a new acquaintance or a relationship from the standpoint of output, I've got something to tell you, I want you to think, to feel, to rather to discipline myself to back up and to allow for zimzum, allow for space so that the person can feel comfortable enough to divulge who they are, their history. And I have found over and over again that people are beautiful. The most beautiful thing in the world is a human being.
Yes.
And every human being is experiencing what the Dutch philosopher and theologian Kierkegaard called, every human being is experiencing some degree of what he called shut upness.
Okay.
Shut upness. In other words, the traumas of life cause us to shut up, to close down, to repress, to suppress, to shut down, to back up. And the reason we do this is as a self-protection mechanism. So the reason I said that is to say this. If every human being is defined by some degree of repression, suppression, shut upness, simultaneously, we need to recognize that every human being, either subconsciously or consciously, is looking for an atmosphere, a social climate, a relational dynamic in which they would feel safe to open back up. So a human being is a flower that opens to sunshine and rain. But oftentimes in our relational dynamics, you know, we see a flower and it's shut, and we think you can open the flower with pliers and a hammer. Not the right tools.
I love that.
What the flower needs is the gentle sunlight landing upon it and the water stimulating growth beneath the surface. And so I think discovery of human beings is the best discovery, and that the way we discover human beings is to create a relational climate in which they feel comfortable opening up, opening back up to wonder and discovery and relationship. And the way that we do that is to create in our relationships what I refer to as a no judgment zone. The only way for a person to feel comfortable to divulge to anybody who they are, what they've been through, what their experience is, what they love, what they hate, the shut upness The fact that we're shut down and leaning out, the only way to open that up is to sense, hey, wait a minute, I'm in a conversation, I'm in a relationship with a person who will not judge me for what they discover about me. And the moment a person senses on an intuitive level, you won't judge me, will you? If I divulge, I'm safe because there won't be any judgment, no condemnation, no incrimination. And the moment a person senses that, they begin to open up and the discovery of who they are begins.
This was a beautiful discourse. There were times that it almost sounded like a song to me, what you were saying.
Okay.
I think you could make a song out of it, but when you talked about it's like a flower, and it's such a beautiful illustration. And what was so incredible as you were talking, my mind was exactly going into this zone that leads me to this follow-up question to what you just said. So in essence, if you really want to embrace true discovery, in this case, like you said, because one of the most beautiful things is to discover people and to humans. So it seems like an essential ingredient for true discovery, aka something that helps you thrive, is to have an open mind without judgment towards that which you aim to discover.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Can I go a step further?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the most amazing and awesome and wonderful thing to discover is a human being, human personality, history, everything that composes the totality of that person. You, Dominique, you are the sum total of all the experiences that you've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And I, as someone who knows you, someone who is in relationship with you, if I create the right environment, not only will I discover you, check this out, this is amazing. Not only will I discover things about you, but in the process, you will begin to make discoveries regarding yourself that you're unfamiliar with because you have suppressed them. And it took my acceptance, my love, my relationship with you to bring out of you what you were not even aware of. And this is amazing. This is where an author by the name of C.S. Lewis, this is where C.S. Lewis describes that the genius and wonder of friendship is that one person in relationship with another person, that person's particular composite of personality traits brings things out of this person that only this person can bring out.
Yeah.
So if you remove that person and you bring another person, you're going to manifest your humanity in ways that the other person couldn't pull out of you. But then C.S. Lewis does this incredible thing. He says if you add a third person to a social dynamic, now I will see things in you that I can't bring out, which only he or she can bring out. So that person is interacting with you, and now I'm a third party observer. I'm discovering things about you by the way you're relating to them. Let me give an example. My daughter Leah brings out a particular kind of humor in my son Jason that only occurs in her presence.
Okay.
And I witness that humor in him only when the three of us are together.
So funny.
If the three of us are not together, he's humorous. The dude's downright hilarious. But he's not funny in the way that he is when Leah, his sister, is in the mix. Isn't that amazing? It's
so cool.
It's incredible. It's just really incredible.
And it really shows you, and it really shows you again, just to underline that. And it's a statement we hear all the time, but I don't think we actually grasp it or internalize it.
Yeah.
How every single human is completely extraordinary. In other words, there's not one human that is like the other.
Yeah.
Everyone is
Yeah.
completely unique, and
That's
that
right.
uniqueness in that combination, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just said,
Yeah. Yeah.
is a great process of discovery. And as you were just talking, and maybe this goes off a little bit, I was just thinking about this. You were talking about, isn't it in that sense for
Yeah.
to connect it to this notion of true love can only
Yeah.
really develop if there's true openness for discovery and the process of
Mm.
discovery. In other words, this process of discovery between humans
Yes.
is the way to actually develop true love,
Exactly.
right?
Love, love, love is a creative venture,
Yep. It's not
isn't it?
something that's just so. This has been a huge topic that I've had so many conversations about. True love is not something you're going to have the second you meet someone,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
because
That's right.
because this is an essential process that you're talking about, because that's
Yes.
that's a discovery process.
Hmm. So love is constantly in the process of manifesting in unique forms.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a myriad of forms. It's oceanic, it's titanic.
Mm-hmm.
Love is the great ocean that we're continually tapping into, and we tap into it by relational dynamics.
Yeah.
But can I go a step further?
Yeah.
A third step further. Okay, so there's the unique human being, right?
Yep.
And the totality of their identity, whoever they are, and what makes them the particular person they are. And then there's the relational dynamic that we each can have with one another in order to bring to the surface latent beauty that is suppressed, repressed, or shut up, right? But then
Yep.
here's a third one. This has to do with discovery. All human beings manifest who they are in culture,
Mm.
in their art, in the meal that was made in the kitchen, in the peculiar combination of ingredients that became over time what we call Thai food or Indian food or Italian food or Greek food or Peruvian food, whatever it is, right?
Mm.
Why is it that there's Peruvian food as opposed to, or in contrast to, say, for example, Italian food? Why are these two culinary? It's because every culinary culture, right,
Mm-hmm.
is the manifestation of the collective expression of the history of that people's eating habits.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could, and we can't because we're not, we don't have the perspective large enough. If you could trace all the little steps that were taken by each grandma and grandpa and auntie and uncle and every person, if you could go back, tens and then hundreds of years, you would discover the emergence of Indian food.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point at which there was no such thing as Indian food. There was no such thing as curry. And there was the first person who said, I'm going to combine that with that to produce that.
Yep.
Oh, wow, it tastes good.
Yeah.
Let's make more of it.
Yep.
And then you have a particular culinary expression. Now, the same is true with music. The same is true with architecture. Anybody who's been to Japan is in awe of the architecture.
Mm.
Anybody who's been to Vienna is in awe of the architecture.
Mm-hmm.
But the architecture in Vienna is different than the architecture in Japan. And the same process occurred by which the development of that particular architectural personality emerged on the landscape of history, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said all of that to make this point. The same is true of every individual. So if you want to be a person of discovery, and I'm assuming that all of you who are tuning in right now, whoever you are, wherever you are, you're tuning in because you want to be a person of discovery. Well, if you want to be a person of discovery, then you need to be curious about all the different cultural expressions of human beings. So do you want to really be a person of discovery? You should taste new foods regularly. Like right now, what I'm doing, Dominique,
Yeah.
I am on a quest to try bibimbap in every place I go. So wherever I go in the world, wherever I go in the United States, wherever I go, the first thing as I do, I'm Googling, where's the best bibimbap in this town? And then I just go find it, and I have myself bibimbap because I'm tasting all the different expressions of Korean culinary. I want to know, what is it that makes Korean culinary what it is? And I'm discovering it right now. What about music? What about music? If you want to be a person of discovery, you need to be listening to new music. You need to be discovering new music. What about art? What about architecture? I mean, you're on Instagram right now.
Yep.
You should be following one or two really good architecture Instagram accounts so that you can just see beautiful buildings all over the world that people have created. So there's a connection between the individual person, the relationship that any two or more people have, and the creative or cultural expression that makes every human person distinct and different. So those are the three areas of discovery. If you want to be a person of discovery, well, you need to discover, you need to be curious, you need to branch out, you need to have conversations with people that you wouldn't normally have conversations with. You need to say, hey, so, you know, in so many words, tell me your story.
Yep.
Who are you? What's it like to be you? You came out of the womb, and then what happened?
I love that question. That is a great question to ask a new person. What is it like to be you? Like, that's a great question to ask in a conversation, to meet someone. And, you know, it is so incredible because you're putting so many good impulses out there as we're talking about this notion of finding a way to thrive more as we live. And it requires, in this particular conversation, what we're talking about here is, it requires an element of curiosity, which I believe everyone has, whether or not we actually respond to that thing of curiosity. I think that's up to us. It's a decision. It's a decision to intentionally say, I will go after the curiosity, or maybe even figuring out what I am curious about. And, you know, and like you say, and discovery, like you said, then requires an openness to say, because I want to discover, that I can't implement judgment on the discovery process, because you're not discovering. If you're already judging, then you can't discover. It's like putting up some kind of wall around you.
I had a guy say to me recently, when I was telling him about my bibimbap quest, he said, I don't like that. And I said, have you ever had it? He said, well, no, but I know I don't like it. No, you don't. You need to sit down and have some bibimbap with me. And I'm telling you, those flavors will dance on your taste buds and you will freak out. You will have a great experience.
Yep.
But he was just afraid. He just thought, no, I don't like that. Well, how do you know you don't like it?
Well, and that's an essential element. What we're talking about here is this element of, if you really want to thrive, you need to discover, AKA you need to leave your comfort zone. And leaving your comfort zone is something nobody wants to do. It's not like, I mean, there's a few of us crazies that think that's really exciting, but the majority is not thinking, yay, I'll leave my comfort zone. But it's a decision to say, I will leave my comfort zone. And I got to tell you real quick on that, I had a great Instagram live a couple of weeks ago in German with a German person. And we talked about this notion of that it seems like people, human beings, have been in a mental lockdown a heck of a lot longer than lockdown. And so we're in this mental lockdown, and this mental lockdown has become our comfort zone that we're in, because that's where we're at. And when you stay in the same space all the time, that's what you're comfortable with. But you can't see clearly. And if you actually, like, imagine the comfort zone is your apartment that you live in, and you don't really leave it. And then you actually leave it one day, and you come back in and you're like, oh my gosh, this place stinks. because
Mm.
you don't even notice
Yeah.
it while you're in it all the time. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like when you take that step, when you're willing to discover, you suddenly see things
Yeah. Yeah.
differently. And I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
is so essential of trying this discovery process, whether it's discovering people or even discovering more things about
Mm-hmm.
yourself or
Yes.
discovering things about the world. And you have to step out of it. So you need this element of wanting to leave your comfort zone
Yeah.
and to not, stay in this stinky apartment of yours, is I guess
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to say,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Because you can't thrive in there. You can't.
Yeah. 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 Um, Pierre Janet, who was a student, a protege of Sigmund Freud,
Mm-hmm.
himself also a psychotherapist. Uh, Pierre Janet said that when a person is afraid, they suppress, and then if their traumas are significant enough and repeated, they dissect. So they fragment off parts of their personality because there's pain in that direction, wherever the direction is. In my psyche, there's pain over there. In my psyche, there's pain over there. Don't go over there. So separate that part of me off from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that dissection process is what causes people to be afraid of discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Because discovery represents the potential for pain. Why? Because by definition, Dominique, by definition, what is discovery? Discovery is the unknown.
Yeah.
By definition. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what's over there. I
Yeah.
don't know. If I put that bibimbap in my mouth, what's going to happen?
Who knows?
Gag. I might gag. I might not like it.
Right.
So
right.
it's better to just narrow down my possibilities, right? And say, I only eat 3 things: Kraft macaroni and cheese, white bread, and I don't know what else. French fries.
Right.
That's safe. That's safe for me.
Yep.
To which I respond and say, but have you tried Puerto Rican food? Have you?
That's it.
Because if you haven't, you're missing out. So people suppress because of pain, and then they fragment in order to separate parts of their personality out. They compartmentalize so that they don't have to experience more pain. So discovery. This is the last of I have 4 points, and here's my last one, and that is that people don't think about this in this way generally, but discovery isn't just entertainment, it's healing. It heals, Dominique. Discovery heals. It opens me back up to wonder. It opens me back up to awe. It opens me back up to potential and possibility, right? So discovery is a healing process because discovery is an encounter with new beauties, And beauty, I think you're familiar with the brothers Karamazov and Dostoevsky and his writings, and he makes this profound statement. He says, beauty will save the world, quote unquote. Beauty? How does beauty save the world? Well, beauty saves the world because when we encounter beauty, it stimulates and draws forth beauty out of us. It brings to the surface the things that we have pushed down, dissected, and compartmentalized, and it causes a human being to come back together in wholeness. The fragmentation, the dissection begins to merge, and you begin to say, no, it's okay for me to encounter this part of myself that is accustomed to pain. And the pain need not be forever. And so beauty heals. Discovery is a healing process.
I love this. I mean, when you just said that, I had goosebumps when you said that. I'm going to go back and actually transcribe some of what you just said because it's so brilliant. And it just reminds me again, tying some of these things together. we often prefer to stay in our comfort zones and not go discover because of
Mm-hmm.
the fear. But funny enough, we often choose the same patterns that were
Yeah,
painful because they're familiar.
that's
And
right.
so we know how to deal with that pain. So maybe it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem as painful, which is
Yeah,
completely
yeah,
paradox,
yeah, yeah.
but we're afraid of that which we don't know. But then I read a quote recently that it was so interesting. And it said, maybe you're encountering for the first time a healthy, good relationship, but you're not
Mm.
recognizing that as love or affection because you've never experienced
Yes.
true love and
Yeah,
affection
yeah,
before.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you don't know how to grasp that or handle that. So
yeah,
to
yeah,
you, it's something else, but
yes,
because you haven't experienced it,
yeah,
and that's the discovery process.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's scary because when you do that, and let's say you discover something
yeah,
more beautiful,
yes,
because
yes.
discovery is beauty, then it also means you have to admit that maybe that which wasn't
Mhm.
that, and now it's
Right, right,
new. And so I think there's so many elements that are a challenge for
right,
us
right,
in that
right.
process. And so, but at the
Yeah,
same time, we withhold ourselves from discovering true beauty in so many ways
yeah,
if
yeah,
we don't
yeah,
find the courage to discover.
yeah. And this is why, Dominique, this is why I prescribe when I do counseling and somebody has experienced some kind of trauma and they have, again, to quote Kierkegaard, they have shut up, they've shut
Mm-hmm.
down and pulled back. Okay. If somebody is hurting, if somebody is broken, if somebody is traumatized, what do we tell them to do? Well, here's one of the things I tell them to do. This is part of the prescription. Enter into new social circles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Meet new people. Break out of the familiar social circle that is contributing to
Yeah.
the stasis of your trauma,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Break out of the social circle that has defined a kind of cyclical pain that you can't seem to break out of one social circle. Don't abandon those people, continue
Right.
loving them, but create new social circles, meet new people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then someone will inevitably say, well, how do you do that? Where do you go? Well, go anywhere. Go to the beach, go to the rock climbing gym, go wherever, and just you'll meet a whole new group of people
Yep.
and
Exactly.
say, hi, my name's Ty. What's your name? Tell me your story. You
Yep.
exited the womb and then what? No, you're not that
Exactly.
direct at first. Not at first. Not at first. You have to actually share a meal together before you say you exited the
Okay, say
womb and
that.
then what?
But there's so much truth in that. And I remember too, during the time, I it just resonates so much with what you're saying to me because I experienced severe trauma over a period of time. So it wasn't
Mm,
just one situation, it was continuous trauma. And as I was going through my healing journey, which by the way never ends, but as I started my healing journey, it was so
mm,
interesting because my therapist said to me, she asked me, she goes, well, do you think that you might be ready for another relationship? And I said to her, no way, because I first need to
yeah,
heal completely and everything needs to be fixed before I enter another relationship. And she looked at me, she goes, well, aren't you silly? And I said, why?
yeah.
And she said, did you know that the only way you can continue to really heal is through a new relationship with someone?
That's right.
And that
That's
was
right.
so mind blowing to me at the
It
time.
is.
And
It
then that's
is.
exactly what you were
Not
saying.
only is
If
it mind blowing, it's true.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. And it's like that, like you can't, because like you said at the very
Yeah.
beginning, when you are in a dynamic with
Mm,
someone
mm,
that
mm.
gives you the safety
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be you, but that
Yeah.
also challenges you, that will
Yeah. Yeah.
trigger things within you, that will start
Yeah.
bringing other stuff to the surface. But if you can do that in the confines of a safe place
Right. Right.
with someone that you discover, then
Yeah.
you find new beauty within yourself and with
Yeah.
each other.
Because really, there's only one ultimate formula for development and healing, and that is to be perfectly known and perfectly loved simultaneously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, I love
You
that.
got you got to know that someone sees you
Yeah,
and still loves you
yes,
in order to heal and to grow and to develop and mature.
I love it. It's brilliant. And you know what? I totally stopped looking at the clock, and I just did. We're definitely way past
Oh
our
no.
air time, which is
Well, we did have a
fine.
slow start. Yeah.
Yeah, we did, but that's okay. But I just really think there was so much in here. And guys and girls from all over the world, if you tuned in late and you want to see the whole thing, we will upload it to Instagram TV, IGTV for Andrews, so you can see the whole topic. I'm gonna watch it again because I want to write down some of the stuff you said for myself to really transfer that which you said into real life, because that's what it's about. We can talk all day long, but if we don't take some of the concepts to really transfer into our own lives and to say, where am I right now? Am I open to discovery? Am I holding myself back because I am afraid, because I'm judgmental, because I mean we all are to some degree, but we can ask ourselves those questions. And like you said, what can we do to really start the discovery process, to meet new people? Right now, one of the biggest things I hear is that people feel lonely because they feel locked up. But at the same time, you have a pathway to the whole world through technology. You can meet new people. You can discover new people, new places. There are things you can do. And so don't hold yourself back. Don't limit yourselves by some type of a context. The context does not define you that you're in right now. You have a choice. And so I think that's, the important part, to say, okay, that which you shared today was so essential. Say, how can I mean, that question, so who are you and what's it like to be you? Just ask someone that question. I'm totally going to do that. So anyway, thank you so much, Ty. And I will give you 30 seconds for the last word of the day.
Okay. The last word that I would like to bring is that we as human beings are by definition, creatures of love. We are made to love and be loved. The only way to fully flower as a human being is to be in relationships that bring to the surface whatever it is that composes our personalities, our characters, our histories. And so seek out relationships. You are a majestic creature of love. That's who you are. That's what you are. And I would encourage you to maximize that potential through relationships, through discovering new people, new places, new food, new music.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for those inputs. And thank you for everyone that was here. If you're a student at Andrews University, the link for co-curricular credit will be in the bio for Andrews University's Instagram account. So go there, get your co-curricular credit. Sending lots of hearts back. You'll be getting a lot of hearts here, Ty. That's really nice of everyone. Okay, so lots of love to the world, wherever you are. And be back next Tuesday, 11:30, for another episode of ThriveCast. Be excited for our next show, and wishing you all the best and sending lots of love to everywhere in the world. Thank you, Ty.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.